遠い話、世界がまだ混迷の時代。ハイラル地方にある小王国には神秘の力を持つトライホースと呼ばれる黄金の三角形が代々伝えられていた。が、ある日、世界を闇と恐怖によって支配しようと企む大魔王ガノンが率いる魔の軍団がこの国に攻め込み、力のトライホースを奪った。邪悪な支配を恐れた小王国の姫ゼルダは、もう一枚残された知恵のトライホースを守るため、それを8つの小片に分け、各地に隠した。と同時に、最も信用のおける自分の乳母、インファに、ガノンを倒してくる勇気ある人物を探すよう命じ、密かに脱出させた。これを知ったガノンは怒り、姫を捕らえて、インファに追っ手を放った。森を抜け山を越え、必死の逃走を続けたインファだが、ついに力尽き、ガノンの手下たちに囲まれてしまった。絶体絶命。と、その時である。カズトの少年が現れ、巧みに手下たちを混乱させ、インファを救い出したのだった。彼の名はリンク。旅の途中でこの事態に出くわしたのだ。インファは彼に、事の一部始終を話した。正義感に燃えるリンクは、姫の救出を決意したが、力のトライホースを持つガノンに対抗するためには、ぜひとも自へのトライホースの小片を集め、完成させなくてはならない。さもなくば、ガノンの住むデスマウンテンに侵入することすらできないのだ。果たしてリンクはガノンを倒し、姫を救うことができるだろうか。それは君の腕にかかっている。
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Setsumei Show, where I compare the Japanese instruction manuals to the North American instruction manuals. And in this episode, we have a game that needs no introduction at all, The Legend of Zelda. And right off the bat, the cover is completely different from the US release. We got that gold box and the gold cartridge with there's like a crest on it. Where here we actually see a picture of our hero Link and like the logo and Zelda no Densetsu, the Legend of Zelda. And if you heard the music in the beginning, you'll know that it sounded a little different, and that's because it was released on the disk system. So the disk system was a peripheral that attached to the bottom of the Famicom, and it allowed for another audio channel to be in the game, or to be used in the game. So it gives the music a little more depth. It's like adding another instrument. And let's look at what the game looks like. All right, here's the manual. We'll look at that later. But here it is. It comes in a plastic case. Like there's a plastic box, plastic case, and then let's look at the disc. All right, so here is the very, very first release of The Legend of Zelda. It is not a cartridge. So what you do is you put the disc in the system, side A, and then you choose which file you're going to use. After you choose the file, it'll tell you to take it out, and then you flip the side over, and then you put side B in, and that's when your quest begins. Okay, let's look at the instruction manual. FMCZEL, The Legend of Zelda. All right, on the inside cover, we have Disk-kun, and he's kind of like the Famicom Disk System mascot. And here it just says some basic information, how to protect your discs, how it's used, etc. Then here we have really cool stuff, extra labels, and some stickers. I really wish we got these stickers. The labels we didn't need because we didn't have the disc system. But the extra labels, these are here because back in the day, in a lot of retail stores that sold video games, they would have these units where you could bring any disc, like, for example, if you had Super Mario Brothers on a disc and you brought it to the store and you thought, hey, I want The Legend of Zelda. So you would pay some money and then you would write the Legend of Zelda game onto that disc, and then you can put this label on that disc. So you were able to switch out games whenever you wanted. So it's crazy because when I buy these on the aftermarket, and you have to be careful about which discs you get because it could be labeled something, but the actual game is different. And now we go on to the table of contents. Nothing special there. And here you saw in the beginning, this is the double page of the backstory, the prologue. Really cool map of Hyrule. It's a little difficult to read here. And same with the North American version. It was kind of hard to read. And just some basic things when you turn on the system, you get these screenshots. So yeah, that's what the disk system looks like. Okay, let me go closer to that. Right. All right, so yeah, there's loading. Imagine you had to wait for loading for an NES game. This one, it does take a little long though. Then just some basic stuff, making a new file. Something really interesting here. Let's look at this very quickly. So it says, let me put that here. Nakago, Tezuka, Miyamoto. All right, you guys all know who Miyamoto is. Shigeru Miyamoto, he is the producer and director. And Tezuka is the designer, who is also a director. And Nakago is the programmer. So these three are the brains of this game. And this is one of two games that they actually first started together. The other one is Super Mario Brothers. All right, nothing too exciting here. Here we have some extra art. Link on a disc. And more extra art. 2 links holding a disc. Cool. And let's see. So basics for a beginner. Here we have the sub menu and the main menu. And the screenshots were different from the North American version. I don't know why that is, but we did get this art. I remember seeing this. And here it talks about the overworld and the underworld. Nothing different there. And here are the swords. Right, sword, white sword, magical sword. The sword, the white sword, and the magical sword, which now is called the Master Sword. Shield and magical shield. And it says, Fushigi to nazo no takaramono. Mysterious and strange treasures. Hatashite tsukai wa. So how do you use them? We have the rupees. And this drawing of the rupee is a little different from the North American version. This one looks a little more bland, in my opinion. But everything else, the artwork is pretty much the same. Right? The hearts, the fairy, the keys, everything, every art is the same. Which I'm happy about because that's what I grew up with. Okay, we have the map, compass, the letter, the 2 rings, the magical rings, and the what is it? The power. What does that say? Bracelet. The power bracelet. Magical clock. And the boomerang. I always love this right here, where Link hits the Octorok. Tomare! Stop! Bakudan. Bomb. So that's a good word to know. Bakudan. Bakudan is Japanese for bomb. Yami to ki no ya to gin no ya. Ki no ya, a wooden bow, and gin no ya, the silver. Or I'm sorry, not bow. Ki no ya is the wooden arrows and the silver arrows. Yami is bow. Then we have the candles. Flute. This is new. We did not see this little art piece of Link playing the flute. Let me get a better look at this. It's very cute. All right, then the meat. The Octorok's eating the meat. Or it says Teki no esa. Esa is like pet food. Like when they talk about feeding your dog, they say esa. And then we have the Inochi no Mizu, life water, or potions. Magic rod, magical rod. Link wo achikochi bouken sasete miyo. So let's look at the places where Link goes back and forth to. So this is the overworld. That's new. Oops. And this one with the merchant is new. Okay, now we have the enemies, which are pretty much the same. I think most of them are the same names, right? Tekutaito, Octarok, Liba, Pihatto. The same spellings too. One that is different here, we pronounced it Moblin, but here it says Moriburin. I think this is a bit more deep because it says Mori, and Mori is forest, and Burin is like a short for goblin. So it's like a forest goblin, Moriburin. And even the spelling is different, Moblin. I think in the North American, it's just Moblin. All right, we have Amos, Gini, Liner. Same artwork. Yeah. Zora, or no, sorry, not Zora. Zora. That's a Zora. Here it's a little different. It says Sumu Hangyojin. In the North American version, it says that it's a half human, half woman, like it's a mermaid, but that's not the case here. This would be translated into a murloc. If you don't know what a murloc is, you can go check that out. It's pretty much a fish species in the fantasy universe. But the North American version would make us think that it's a mermaid, which is it's pretty different. It's not like Ariel. Okay, we have the rock, and then here's the fairy. Then we have the underworld. Link wo achikochi bouken sasete miyo. So let's look again at the places that Link goes to back and forth, and underworld. And describes the labyrinths. Make you's labyrinth. Again, same artwork. As a kid, this always threw me off. I was always like, why is there a Nazi symbol in this game? And as I grew up and started to study religion, I realized that that is not a Nazi symbol. It's a Buddhist symbol. And the underworld enemies. Zoru Togeru. Probably just gel. Rope. Baya to keys. Starforce. Wallmaster. Goria. Wizrobe. Tartonak. Very different. We know them as Dark Nuts. I don't know if that was a better choice, but Tartonak. Very different. Poru's voice. Lanemoru. Lanemora. Next. Like. I hated these things. Man, these were the worst. Like. Gibudo. Morudoamu. Teschitato. This is another different enemy name. Teschitato. We know him as Manhandler. The Manhandler. Yeah, this, I don't get that. Teschitato. What is that, like testicles or something? But I don't know, they changed it to Dark Nut. That wasn't great either. Dodongo. Aquomentas. Aquo. But here they spelled aqua. That's a little strange. Patra. Digdoga. Goma. I always liked Goma. I think he was my favorite boss. I don't know why. Griok. And the head of Griok. Bubble. And we have Toraputo Sekizo's stone statue. Yeah, these little drawings, I love them. They're so cute. Alright, game o hajimeru yo to yu kimi ni chotto tehodoki. So, a small introduction to begin the game. So, it's a little walkthrough. It's a walkthrough to the first temple, or the first labyrinth, which we also got in North America. And here it's a 2-pager. Well, actually 3, right? Right, first step, and I like this. It's really colorful, and it's well designed. And then you get this map to the second labyrinth, which was here. And then after that, they don't really help you out much. That's it. It just goes to the story. And this was different because in the US version, or North American version, this story was in the beginning part of the instruction manual. But it's the same. It's not anything different. Just like the prologue, there really wasn't much difference there. One thing I will say is that these, because the paper is on like a mat, and where the North American version was more on like a glossy one, this one lacks a little color. The North American version was a little bit more colorful. It had more color to it than this. But we actually get more of the drawing in the Japanese version, where I think they just, in the US, they just like cut it into squares. And there's the Link getting chased down by the Darknet. I think this was my favorite one. That was cool. And I always wondered, damn, Ganon is huge. But then when you fight him, he's not that big. Assuming that is Ganon. Yeah, it is Ganon. Yeah, it says Ganon. And this is about to come off. Oh no. And then, yeah, some... don't mistreat Disk-gun. Don't touch him. This is actual Disk-gun. This is the actual mascot. Does it have it in? Yeah, there he is. Don't step on Disk-gun. Don't put him with trash. Don't put him in high temperatures. No magnets. Look at you, took it out his eye. Holy shit. You took out his eye. Holy shit. Crazy. I never realized that until now. That's pretty funny. And then error readings for the discs. 1986, February 28th. Ah, the 80s. I miss the 80s. So that wraps it up for another episode of Setsumei Show. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back again next week with another episode with a different game. Take care. Peace.